Hello everyone. Today we will be learning about inverted commas. What are inverted commas? Pause the video now to remind yourself. Inverted commas show you when somebody is talking. They are also known as speech marks or quotation marks. Beginning and end. Your speech marks are supposed to go at the beginning and the end of the words that are being spoken. For example, lower please, I said. The parts that are spoken are lower please. So the quotation marks go around those parts. Imagine that inverted commas are like hands. They hold within them only the words which are being spoken. Capital letters. Begin the direct speech with a capital letter. For example, what an amazing day, he announced. You can see at the beginning of the word what there is a capital W because it is the first part, the first word in the speech marks. Punctuation. Make sure your speech is correctly punctuated. This includes a piece of punctuation before closing the inverted commas. For example, there are times I feel that you are a little cold, I said. You can see that the last speech mark at the end after cold has a comma before it. You cannot close inverted commas without any punctuation before it. So you would have a comma, a question mark if it is a question, or an exclamation mark if it is an exclamation. Remember, new speaker means new line. You must start a new line whenever someone new speaks. For example, here we have a sentence that explains what Henry said. How are you doing today? Asked Henry. And now, Ashton's sentence is on a new line. I'm great, said Ashton. So every time a new speaker is speaking, you must start a new line. A reporting clause. In your sentence's information, you must explain who is speaking and how they are speaking. This is called a reporting clause. For example, what's the matter, Dina? Said Sid. You can see at the end it says, said Sid. This tells you that Sid is the one talking. You can also use alternatives to said. For example, what's the matter, Dina? Asked Sid, if he's asking a question. What's the matter, Dina? Whispered Sid, if Sid is whispering. What's the matter, Dina? Uttered Sid. Or what's the matter, Dina? Shouted Sid, if Sid was shouting. There are lots of other examples too. It's your turn. Here is a conversation between Amina and her son, Sunil. How can we write this into a sentence with speech marks? So here, Amina is sat at a computer and she says, Sunil, can you come and help me send an email? To make this into a sentence, we write the part that she's saying, Sunil, can you come and help me send an email? We need to include who has said it, so we know Amina said it. I'm going to add said Amina. Now we need to think about where our inverted commas are going to go. So at the beginning, when she says Sunil, we will have some inverted commas at the beginning. And then after the part she said, which was email, Sunil, can you come and help me send an email? Question mark. We close that part with the inverted commas. Here is another one. It's a conversation between Mr. Armitage and Max. Let's write this into a sentence with speech marks. Remember, you start a new line for each new speaker. Mr. Armitage said, please could you put the books into my classroom? And Max has responded, no problem, sir. So firstly, we write down Mr. Armitage's sentence. That's what he said. Please could you put the books in my classroom? We know who said that. It was Mr. Armitage. Please could you put the books in my classroom? Said Mr. Armitage. The part that is being spoken starts with please, so we have some speech marks at the beginning. And notice that the word please starts with a capital P. Now we look at the end of the part that Mr. Armitage said. We can see that it ends there, at the end of classroom. We can see that Mr. Armitage said, "Please could you put the books inside my classroom?" Next, we go on to what Max said. "No problem, sir." We know that Max is the one saying that, so we write, "No problem, sir," said Max. We think about our quotation marks at the beginning and the end. Pause the video now if you are think about whether that is correct. You're right. That last quotation mark is in the wrong place. Max does not say, "said Max." Max's sentence, the parts that he said, end at sir. So that quotation mark must go after the word sir, but before the full stop. Here are some tips for when you're doing your work. Speech marks only go around the part that is spoken, not the reported clause. Remember, capital letters are at the beginning of the speech. You cannot close speech without ending with some punctuation like comma, exclamation mark, or question mark. Remember, new speaker equals new line.